Okay, welcome to Sungate Radio program. My name is Rita Bort. I'm holistic wellness coach, and our guest tonight, Svetlana Pritzker, who is a metaphysical teacher, author, and artist. Hello, Svetlana.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, welcome everybody. Welcome who is listening now or will be listening in the future to our recording. And at the end of the program, Svetlana will answer your questions. So stay with us. Don't go anywhere. And today's topic is, I think it's amazing topic that we have today. I love you. What does it really mean? So we jump in, and Svetlana will answer. What really does it mean? Love, I love you.
Well, love is a very loaded word. The reason for that we all have our own understanding of what love looks like, how it feels, and we also have our own words that express love. And I truly believe that every word has to be looked at as a concept, not just as a word, and also should be looked at as a spell, because we use spells on each other all the time, and we have a tendency to say things before we ever think about it. So for many years I've been working with couples and families, and usually people come to me when they have trouble. They don't come when they're happy and everything well is good in their life. They don't come for the counseling, but they do come when something starts breaking up. And usually when they come, they say, but I love him, but I love her, and yet we need to get divorced because we cannot live together, but I love him. And so I started looking into what does that mean, I love you. And what I've discovered that many people mean, I need you. I cannot live without you. And if you leave me, I will die without you. But if you live with me, I will also die because you suffocate me, because you need me so much that I cannot live with you. And so very often love looks like that, like two people leaning on each other, needing each other. And if one of them goes, the other one goes. And this is the relationship between two lovers. And then parents love their children, and children love their parents. So the love between parents and children looks like that. I'm worried about you. Where are you? What happens? Why didn't you call? Where did you go? What did you do? That's one type of love. The other type of love, you should do better. You could do better. You should be smart. That's not good enough.
Oh, I don't know. I don't agree. I mean, from my perspective, I always proud of my baby or my grown-up son, and I was always trying to encourage him, and I was always saying that he is the best. I don't know if it's right, but from my perspective, what I see now, he's doing very good.
Maybe he's doing so good because your love actually looked like love, encouragement. Courage is a very high vibration, and encouragement is giving somebody courage, and empowerment is giving somebody power. But when you worry about somebody, which you didn't come to my counseling, and now I understand why, but you actually counsel other people because you're a wellness coach. But I want to tell you that so many people actually do express love as a fear, as a worry, as an anxiety, and also as jealousy. Even people don't even call it jealousy, but always worry who you're with is actually jealousy because you're not with me. And so I really want people to be aware that love is a state you get. It's not something you give. It's not something you share. It's a state, and when you're in that state, people that are around you experience that same state, because we are like clocks in an old clock shop. We're in train. So every time somebody has a vibration of love, a high vibration, unconditional love, which is I love you no matter what. I don't care where you are. Of course, I love you to be with me, but no matter where you are, no matter who you're with, no matter what kind of experience you have, I still love you. Because you are a best student, or because you are a successful businessman, or because you come home every day at 6 o'clock. I just love you. So when there is no clause, because of that, I love you, that's love. Unconditional love is an amazing state, that when you somebody, that person receives all of what you were talking about, encouragement and empowerment and feeling good and feeling embraced in that state of love. But unfortunately, we don't do this. We usually use other vibrations, much lower vibrations, to express our love. And that's where I think people lose each other.
So I understand what fear and love has in common. What's then anger and love? How they collaborate?
Oh, well, that collaborates very easily. If you don't do what you should do because I love you and I want you to be the way I want you to be, I will be angry with you. And if you don't do it well, I will be angry with you. And I still love you. And for some people, anger actually resonates with power. So it's pretty amazing, but people do fight a lot in order to feel something in their body. That often happens when people are in a lower vibrational state, like grief. They lost somebody or something back in the day, and now they're in that depressive state, lower state. And when they're in fear and worry, in order to come out from that state, they go to anger. And anger is a higher vibration. And so if you try to get to love, and Dr. Stephen Hawkins has an amazing book. It's called Power versus Force. And he shows all those calibrations, all these numbers. So love calibrates around between 500 and 700. Depends on what kind of love. But fear calibrates around 50, and anger about 100, and desire is about 125 or something like that. Exact numbers, but in that range. So think about when you're angry at somebody because they didn't come home on time, or because they didn't bring you flowers, or whatever else happens, and you say, I love you, and I'm angry at you because you didn't give me the gift for the Mother's Day, for example. There's difference between 100 and 500. So you're calibrating at 100 while you're saying I love you at 500. And when you tell to your child, I'm worried about you, don't go there, don't do this, don't try that, you actually are calibrating around 100, between 50 and 100, while you're saying I love you at 500. So that's very, very confusing. And eventually, children learn that love equals fear or worry, and then they give it to their children. And our society continues expressing love in those lower vibrations.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Well, that's a great answer. And so pure life has no expectations. Is that a good way to say it?
I would say there's a difference between anticipation and expectation.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have a holiday coming or birthday coming, right? And you know this is the day that somebody will cook a beautiful dinner for you, or you'll have a cake, and there will be candles, and there will be gifts. You don't expect people to bring you a particular gift. You just expect that something exciting is going to happen.
Magical.
And you're going to have an amazing day, right? That's anticipation. But imagine your birthday, and you fall asleep a night before, and you think, okay, so-and-so should bring me this, and so-and-so should bring me this, and so-and-so should bring me this. And then you wake up, and so-and-so brought you an amazing gift, but not what you expected. And so we often live life like that. And life is full of magic when you are not expecting but anticipating. When you are looking for magic, when you're constantly experiencing that falling in love again and again, your life becomes absolutely magical. And what's interesting, falling in love is a biological mechanism. What happens when we see somebody that we resonate with, we're attracted to this person, it's our hormonal stream is changing. And at least for 6 months, we don't see anything wrong with this person. Wonderful, no matter what, all great. And then after 6 months, the nature intended for us, back in the day when we were not as civilized, to fall in love, to have baby, and then you don't have to love each other anymore. And so now we're more civilized, we're not having babies right away. And so what happens, the 6 months passes, and now we start seeing things because hormones are not in that same state of falling in love. And so when that happens, all these dopamines and morphines and all those wonderful things that make us feel that we are wearing pink eyeglasses are gone. And we see things, and we start doing this, poking each other. And so usually couples who survive first 2 years are okay later on. But usually those first 2 years are the hardest one, because after 6 months you start seeing things, and then you're hoping to see what you've seen 6 months ago. And that never happens because biology is different. So we actually need to work on not on this other person, change and be the way you were, because they've been the same. You just had those little pink glasses. So what we need to work on is to change our perception and start looking for things that are wonderful. Start anticipating things that make you feel good, because love is a state. So if you're in a state of love, you're constantly falling in love with everything that you see. You choose to see what makes you feel good. Then your state creates an environment, an atmosphere in which everything around you falls in love, and you can have the gift that you want to have.
Mm-hmm. Well, sounds good to me. Our just want to say to our listeners that they can ask their questions in the chat, on YouTube chat. Any question that you would like to ask, Svetlana will channel the information for you. And we actually have a couple questions, and I guess I'll start with one of those. Well, you have the personal information of this person already. So, and her question is, will I stay here in Illinois or move back to Arizona?
Okay, so it's a great question. I don't think that question is for me. That question is for you. And the reason I'm going to direct this question for you, because if I tell you to go to Arizona and you don't really care for it so much, you will say, she sent me there and I went and it was not good. If I tell you stay in Illinois and you really like to go to Arizona, you would not have fun with that as well. You actually have within your body, you have a mechanism that helps you know what exactly do you want and what exactly do you need. And in order for you to know that, I would suggest to do one little thing, very simple, and you can do it anytime you want. You sit down, you close your eyes, and you imagine yourself being there and doing what you want to be doing, whichever place you want to be, one at a time, and just feel it. Just sense it within your body and see if that's something that you actually want, or it's something that maybe somebody told you. Because for many people, our head center is open, and we are like antennas, and we're constantly seeing, hearing, understanding things that other people want. And then we try it on ourselves like a piece of clothes. And some things do not really fit very well. So in order for you to know, you actually need to go there and see how it is. Or if you don't want to go, sit at home and go in your mind. And you will feel it in your body.
Well, if the person kind of know where like she wants to be, and I guess you're not making predictions that what it's coming from. But
yeah, I can make predictions, but I don't really like to do this. And the reason for that is that your happiness and your future is in your hands. And nobody, no psychic, I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about anybody, should actually give you an advice that you do not resonate with. So you actually, when you go to somebody, you actually are looking for somebody to give you an advice that you already know. However, be with yourself and get that advice. I think that would be the most amazing thing that you will learn for yourself, because you will be absolutely independent. Remember in the beginning, I showed you this type of relationship when you're depending on somebody. So when you depend on somebody, every time this person is no longer there, you fall. So what I teach my students and what I teach the people I work with is always be in a standing position. You can talk, you can converse, but you don't need to have anybody. So I need a 2-minute break. Can you?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll talk about something. I guess I just want to say we are, well, kind of be a commercial break for us. We are. I just invite everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can find lots of amazing stories and information there. Also, those who are here in Chicago, they can visit our center, Sungate Center, in Wheeling, Illinois, where we offer a variety of different services, including acupuncture and massage or healing sessions, and also try our crystal bath session. And actually, Svetlana, like she left, but she'll be back in a moment. She's also do personal readings and personal stuff. Well, yeah, I just got the message from someone who I asked a question for, and you are most welcome. We are covering different topics in different issues on our programs, and it's always great to see everybody coming from different places and different subjects and different issues in life. And I'm sure there is no problem. We can find. I'm sorry, I'm talking, and you can see Svetlana's empty place. So once again, you can ask your questions in a live chat, and we'll be answering those questions one by one. Also, I'm going to Brazil very soon, and I'm very excited about it. And looks like Svetlana is coming back, so we'll continue with our program. Welcome back.
I'm actually not in my home town. I'm in another city, and I just had somebody at the door, and I had to take care of it. Sorry.
Very good. That's totally perfect. I had a commercial break. So where we are? Well, we are talking about love, and there are different phases of love. Is there any other phase that we can talk about?
Well, there is a phase of tough love. Tough love is something that I absolutely recommend for fathers and daughters, because very often I see children manipulate adults, and especially daughters manipulate fathers big time. And of course, there are all kinds of manipulations. And it often happens when we love somebody very, very much, so much that we cannot say no. And so what happens, it's not, of course, only happens between parents and children. It also happens in relationships. When we love somebody so much that we don't know how to say no, then eventually we feel that we are being pushed or suffocated or pushed to the very edge of our limitation. And when that happens, we explode, because everyone needs a space. You cannot love somebody if you do not love yourself. You cannot give anything when you do not give yourself what you need. And in relationship, very often we forget who we are, what we need, what our inspiration is. We do not give ourselves time for creative expression. And so at some point we get in that corner where we feel that we always have to give to everybody in order to be loved. And we feel the love is coming, but that's not the love that really makes you feel inspired. So what I would always recommend, you first know what you want and where you want to be in relationship to this person. So that leaning on each other relationship does not happen. But also when you're independent, that space between you is not huge. Because in relationship, it's very important to have a balance. So you're always together without leaning, and you're always together without creating a huge difference. Why it's so important? Because when you're close together and one of the people is growing, personally, internally growing, the other person can follow. If you're in that relationship of leaning on each other, needing each other, and one person starts growing, the other one is going to fall. And if you're separate and independent, that space gets bigger and bigger if one starts growing. So in relationship, the face of love is a mirror. And I call it divine mirror, because if somebody stays in relationship for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, that person is dedicated to help you personally grow. So everything you see out there is your face. It's not somebody else to blame and not somebody else to change. It's actually a mirror in which you can look and see what's going on here within you that is being reflected to you as a mirror. And if you learn to do this, then the whole world is going to be a part of you. You will see the world. You have power to change, because everything that you change about yourself gets reflected around in the world around you.
Wow. That's interesting way to look at it. Yeah, I always every person that we meet, not necessarily somebody who we have relationship with, is our teacher. And that's the great point. And it's always
we could learn,
right.
We could learn from people, but we also could just go away and not learn. But the chances are, if you didn't learn with this person, the next one is gonna show you the same issue. So it's better if we get our lesson on the first attempt and we don't suffer anymore.
That's easy to say. Sometimes, yeah, we are like going through in cycles. It's the same problem, and it goes on and goes on, and it's not easy to get unless we meet someone who really pointed out. But in every case, it's a different story. Well, we have another question. The lady was born in March 1674 in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and the question is, what can I do to start the family? Is there something I'm missing? What is interfering with this happening? Should I be open to maybe an adoption?
Okay, so obviously this is the person that doesn't have children yet. Yeah,
probably.
Just thinking about adoption. Okay, so when you ask the question, should I start a family? The question that I would ask is, do you want a family? Because should comes from somebody else. I look around, everybody has a child, everybody has a husband, everybody has a family, I want it too. And the should usually comes from pressure. You feel pressured. It's time, maybe, or I feel lonely. And that kind of pressure actually makes you make decisions that might not be good for you. The good question to ask yourself, you can see that today I'm gonna redirect the questions, and not because I cannot answer them, but because I'm a teacher, I'm a transformational teacher, and I'm a metaphysical teacher. And I truly believe that my job is not just answer everybody's question, but also in a way of answering the questions, to teach people to start being the guides that they're looking for, to start being the counselors that they're looking for. Because within our body, we actually have 8 counselors, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But for that specific question, first thing I would ask, do I want the family? Is that something I want? Is that because family is not for everybody. Some people are very dedicated, and some people would rather not stay at home and deal with the diapers and, you know, sleepless nights and all of that, and breastfeeding. It's a lot of work. I have 2 children, and I know what that is. So for some people, it's not necessarily the best option. But if the answer is yes, I want my children, I want the children, then the next question I would ask, who do I want to have the children with? So that's a whole entire different story, because sometimes we are giving up on finding somebody that's truly for us. And sometimes that affects our ability to have the children. And so if that's the case, if you cannot find somebody that you absolutely love, and you just want the child, then of course you can either get pregnant artificially, there's many different ways of doing this, or you can adopt. But if you actually are looking for love, and the child is the culmination of that love, that I would really look into what stops you from having love. And very often it's inability to anticipate love, to look for love, and be very clear about what you want. Very often people just have no idea what they need. They know, oh, I'd like somebody handsome and somebody is financially stable and tall. And then somebody comes along and that is not tall enough, and you miss that opportunity. But the truth of the matter is you have to give your love a chance. Also, you have to follow through with that. It's of finding somebody that you like. But if you're passive about it, you probably would not be able to do this. And so the question of having a child and adoption is much more complex than the 2-minute reading that I'm doing right now. And what I would suggest to you,
if love already there,
if love already there and you have already a relationship and you cannot conceive the child, there are many different ways of having the child. So the question that I would like for you to answer for yourself, do I want the child? And when you answer that question, this question number 2, do I want the child now? And if you answer that question, the question number 3, do I want my own biological child? And question number 4 is, do I want an adopted child? And you need to ask every question separately. And like I just suggested a minute ago, sit with this question or write that question. Write a little essay about every question, because I'd like for you, it's a very, very serious decision. And I can tell you, sure, adopt one and you'll get pregnant next year, because that happens very often. But when you adopt a child, you actually relax about it, and then your personal child comes along. And adopting a child is a great, wonderful opportunity for the child and for you. So it's a great service for the world. There are many children who are abandoned. So it's a great opportunity and idea, but I want you to be clear before you do this, because it's a huge responsibility. Either way, whether you have your own child or you adopt a child. So if you have a love in your family, ask yourself, do you love an idea of having a child? And imagine that experience, and then you will be very, very clear about what you need to do. But you will have a child, for sure, I can feel that. The child's coming, it's hanging out there. Actually, your own child. There is a way to get your own child. You don't need to adopt. But you think about it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, our program is almost coming to the end. Is there anything that you feel like you want to suggest our listeners at the end?
Sure. I'd like to remind that we have inner counselors in our body. And those inner counselors, they're constantly receiving information. You have an access to information, just like every psychic has. You also have that access. So I'd like for you, between now and next Thursday, I'd like for you to think about what kind of access is there for you. Do you hear? Do you see? Do you feel? Do you feel tingling? Do you feel warm? Do you feel hot, cold? How do you receive information? What kind of, do you see a vision inside your eyes? Do you know in a phrase what's going on? And see that your whole body is talking to you all the time. For example, your root center is always saying, it's time to do it now, or I'm not ready for it. And your sacral center is always saying, I love it and I don't love it. And your solar plexus, for example, is always talking about, is it safe for me? Am I going to be respected for that? Am I going to respect myself if I do this? And your heart center is always talking about, do I love it? Inspired by that. And your throat center is talking about, is that true? Can I actually talk about it without suffocating myself? And your third eye is always talking in pictures. It gives you ideas and pictures. And then you have the crown center. And the crown center is an antenna. It's constantly get information. And so when you get this information, you actually have to channel it through. Does that make sense? Am I aware of what that is? Truthfully? Do I love it?
Do I feel it?
Does it
right?
feel? Yeah, does it feel like it's right for me on a soul level? Am I respecting myself when I'm making the decision? And then in your sacral, you ask yourself, is that something I love? Do I have power when I think about it, or I lose power, or I'm leaking power when I'm thinking about it? And then your root center, you think about, is that something I'm ready for now? Or I feel a pressure and I become a slave to that idea that might not be even mine. And then there is a solar star, and it's 8 centers, like way above here, about 6 to 12 inches above. And that is where this soul star is talking to you in archetypal language. So you all know about Cinderella's story and Sleeping Beauty and Snow White. All of those stories are archetypal stories. So you right now are living one of those stories in your childhood. Right now you're living that story. If you're telling not truth, constantly talking about something that's not true to you, your nose is growing and you're becoming Pinocchio. So think about, what do you desire in this life, and what kind of archetypal story from above here you live. And then a lot of things in your life will start making sense. And then you can make decisions that are true to you. That when you receive that antenna, it comes through and you go, that makes a lot of sense. I'm becoming aware of that, and I can truthfully say about that. I can share with inspiration, and I absolutely love it, and I respect myself for that, and I have all the power to do it, and I'm ready to do it now. And then you know it's yours.
Wow. That's very inspiring. Thank you very much. Thank you for your deep insights and great suggestions. And dear listeners, tune in next Thursday, same time, 7:30 Chicago time, and we'll talk more about different aspects of life and what's really important to know now at this moment.
And I will do more readings for sure, I promise.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next Thursday. Bye-bye.
Love to